Hey there, Ravens flock. Welcome back to Baltimore Talk, the weekly podcast giving you a recap of every Baltimore Ravens game you miss from now to postseason. I'm your host, Anthony Propst, and I'll be bringing you everything you miss, plus my own personal thoughts, opinions, and analysis. Last night, we witnessed the Week 17 contest between our very own Baltimore Ravens and our division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, at home in M&T Bank Stadium. And I'm not going to lie to everybody, it was an interesting game. Didn't go the way we all expected and or hoped. I know that's a fact, but it still had its ups. It still definitely had its downs, and it had some decent moments. I won't lie to everybody. But before we get into all that, we got to talk about the three big names that I personally feel were heavily missed and definitely could have helped us. Last night being two of our strong defensive players, both Calais Campbell and Marcus Peters, both missing from the roster last night, both on the inactive list, as well as our starting quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who will not be playing for the rest of the remainder of the season, and maybe not even in the postseason, which it definitely stinks because we definitely are feeling the loss of those three guys and definitely feeling the missing potential that we could be having because of them not being here. But we definitely got to work around that and definitely rise up a little more and get more headstrong and get our game going. But we can get into all that at the end and during the halftime report. So we'll just get started here with the opening coin toss, which we did win and did end up choosing to defer, as most of the time if we do, because like I always say that when you choose to defer, it could benefit you a little bit better than choosing to receive, because if you elect to receive in the opening kickoff, then it could not go your way in the second half. But we all know how things like to go. So with that being said, we'll start off on the Steelers' opening drive. With them, it being 1st and 10, they run for 3, get only a couple yards, with Najee Harris end up running a lot last night. I'm not going to lie, the Steelers' offense was running a lot to this guy, and for good reason, because he was a good running back. I'm not going to lie, he was really getting things going for them. But now on 2nd and 7, they run it again, shy of the first down. It's now 3rd and 1, and they end up converting. Now on 1st and 10, Najee Harris, he ends up carrying for 6, 2nd and 4. Both Brandon Stevens and Roquan Smith on the stop after 2 yards. Now it's 3rd and 2. They end up converting again. 1st and 10, they only gain 1. Then on 2nd and 9, we have Williams on a beautiful save, because this one really helped us out here. This one ended up pushing them back a yard, and this ended up saving. Let me rephrase that. It didn't push them back. They ended up getting the first down, but they definitely stopped them from getting any further. Honestly, if they didn't stop him, that run would have been a touchdown run, because he ended up getting through the line a decent amount. So luckily we have our secondary to help us out. Now on 1st and 10, once again, Najee Harris, he ends up gaining 3. 2nd and 7, Roquan Smith once again on a nice save. It's 3rd and 1. Pittsburgh does end up converting. Now it's 1st and goal, and there was a false start flag on the Steelers, so that'll back them up a couple yards. Now on 1st and goal again, Roquan Smith, I'm telling you guys, this trade that we made for him, definitely a great idea, because he really helps us out and really ends up getting things going. And he was able to get a nice block and a nice stop. So now it's 2nd and goal, and Kyle Hamilton, our young safety, he ends up getting a great stop, keeping it from going anywhere and not getting any points. Now it's 3rd and goal, and Brandon Stevens, great man-to-man coverage, and he gets a beautiful stop. He was playing man-to-man on his guy, and he was able to break up the pass and keep that from going anywhere. So now on 4th and goal, the Steelers will go for a field goal and put themselves up 3-0 with 7:01 left in the first quarter. And on the kick return, we have our man Justice Hill returning for a nice 27 yards. Called a fair catch, ran it for 27 yards, so that was really good to see. Now it's 1st down. 1st and 10, J.K. Dobbins, he gets a great handoff, only run up a 3. And here we go. This is a highlight here. Mark Andrews, he ends up on 2nd and 7 getting the first, and he really was the one that was helping us get these things going. It is now 1st and 10. J.K. Dobbins, unfortunately, is stuffed at the line. Then on 2nd and 10, Tyler Huntley, he ends up having to take it for himself as a quarterback, and he slides for the first. it's 1st and 10 again. J.K. Dobbins has stood up and stopped once again. I think they're starting to understand our run game a little bit because we've been running to J.K. Dobbins so much lately, and he's just been putting up the yards and putting up the numbers, so I understand that they were able to pick up on that. Must have been watching film. Now on 2nd and 10, Tyler Huntley goes for it again. This time he only gets 4. Now on 3rd and 6, it's first down for Mark Andrews, but they tried to call it back, and John Harbaugh threw up the challenge flag, and that call was reversed. So we were able to keep our first down because it looked like he didn't make it, but when you watch the review, you could see where Mark's knee was going down. The Steelers player elbow pad, which is the same color, it looked like it was mimicking his knee, but it actually was just his elbow. So Mark was able to keep those yards and get the first down. So now it is 1st and 10. It was a short pitch to Dobbins, and that was only for 2. Now on 2nd and 8, Tyler Huntley, he throws the ball, but it's a really low pass, and it's almost intercepted. But luckily, it was able to hit the ground before he could get his hands underneath. And that'll force the Steelers to take their first time out, their first of the half. Now on 3rd and 8, Demarcus Robinson, he gets a catch and the first down. Beautiful catch and run for him. Now on 1st and 10, J.K. Dobbins this time gets a little bit more breathing room. He ends up carrying for 15, which is absolutely beautiful. So now on 1st and 10, once again, we're on another first down, new set of downs. 1st and 10, Tyler Huntley, he ends up going for the quarterback keeper and running it for 4 yards just to end the first quarter. And I won't lie, it's a decent first quarter. I know we're moving a little quick here, but it's because it's just converting on downs, running back and forth. Not really much to say. Only thing I could say is that we got to open up the holes a little more, open up the lane, give us some more running room and some more breathing room. But other than that, it's pretty good first quarter. I won't lie. I know we haven't had any turnovers yet, as this is only our first drive. So we're doing pretty good. It was definitely good to see them stop the potential touchdown from the Steelers. I know I'll have to say that. It really went pretty well, and keeping them to a field goal is definitely better than giving them 7 points. So I have to say that was all good. So now starting in the second quarter on 2nd and 6, Andy Isabella, he's a new face, a new name that we haven't heard from the practice squad. He ends up getting the ball and running it for only a yard. Now it's on 3rd and 5, and unfortunately this is a missed pass to Deshaun Jackson, so that'll put us on 4th and 5, and we have our most accurate kicker, Justin Tucker, putting up the field goal, and this ties up the game now at 3-3. So that'll put us back on the Steelers side of the ball. On 1st and 10 for the Steelers, Najee Harris, he ends up running it for 9 yards, which... no surprise there, as that's what they've been doing all day, is just giving the ball to him. Now on 2nd and 1, once again, he gets the first down. Then on 1st and 10, Pickett, the quarterback, he trips and ends up going down for a loss of 7. It wasn't a bad snap, but he ended up trying to roll back into the pocket, and he ended up tripping over his own 2 feet, which that happened a lot last night on both sides of the ball, both on offense and defense for both Baltimore and for Pittsburgh. And it was... I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't understand how they were tripping over their own feet or whatnot, but it is what it is, I guess. Now on 2nd and 17, Johnson, he ends up getting, from the Steelers, he ends up getting a 14-yard catch, and that'll put them up now to 3rd and 3. Pickens, he might be out, and because when they threw the ball, when Pickett threw to his man, he ended up throwing the ball, and his receiver stepped out and then stepped back in, and that was a flag for illegal touching. Is it when you watch the replay, his feet went out and then he came back in, and so when he caught it, his feet were in, but since he had already gone out of bounds, that'd be an illegal touching flag, and that'll pull them back, and that'll force their Steelers' first punt of the evening. Now on 1st and 10, it is a handoff to Gus Edwards, but he stopped and stuffed right at the line, unfortunately. Gus, the bus, was not able to truck it down, and it was okay. We didn't have an okay run game yesterday. We had a better passing game than run game. They were able to stop the run game a lot yesterday because I think they must have watched film and noticed that we would just pass it to certain people, but run it mostly with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. So they must have been doing their homework. It's now 2nd and 10, and Deshaun Jackson, he gets a gain of 9. Absolutely nice to see. So now it is 3rd and 1, and Gus Edwards again stopped and stuffed at the line to go nowhere. But on the Ravens next part, they have to unfortunately punt the ball away. So now, but there was a flag on the holding. There was a flag. It was a holding on the Steelers, and Brandon Stevens ended up going to the locker room on this play. It was something with his hand, I believe, and I wasn't 100% sure of what it was, but now on the Steelers side of the ball, 1st and 10, it is a gain of 5. Then on the 2nd and 5, they end up converting on downs. 1st and 10, once again, a gain of 6. 2nd and 4, Pittsburgh, they convert, and I'm not going to lie, these next couple plays, they really were pushing it. It's now 1st and 10, incomplete pass, though. 2nd and 10, Warren from the Steelers runs for 5. 3rd and 5, Steelers convert. 1st and 10, gain of 3. 2nd and 7, they end up running for 4. It's now 3rd and 3, and Chuck Clark gets a beautiful save. I won't lie. This was a highlight right here where Chuck Clark, our man, he ends up getting a beautiful save on this play here after all these Steelers first downs and them moving the chains and marching down the field. That's why it sounds like I'm going a little running through the numbers and everything, because it's just the same thing. They're just running things down, and it really not having it. I don't know what was going on with that one, but Chuck Clark, I'm not gonna lie, on that 3rd and 3 was a beautiful save. And then on the next one, on 4th and 3, they end up going for it on a field goal, and this one it sailed a little bit, and then it hit off the bottom of the uprights and fell backwards back into the end zone. So they ended up missing this field goal, and it was absolutely insane. It was very nice to see. I'm very glad that they missed that field goal, because that would have put them up. But I'm just glad they missed it. So now back on our side here, the ball, it's 1st and 10, but we end up getting a false start. So that'll back us up 5 yards. But now we have our man on 1st and 15, J.K. Dobbins. He ends up getting the handoff and running for 17 yards. So that'll push us to a new set of downs and get us out of that slump and that reversal of yards that we had. So now on 1st and 10, J.K. Dobbins, once again, he gets a gain of 5. And now on 2nd and 5, he gets another gain of 5. So that'll push us to the 2-minute warning. And this was absolutely crazy. They said they gave him the first, but they ended up saying he was short. So now it'll be 3rd and inches. And we end up converting on downs anyway. Then on the next play, it is 1st and 10. And J.K. Dobbins, he ends up getting the first down. 1st and 10 again, Gus Edwards. Or actually, no, I apologize. I just repeated myself. After we were on 3rd and inches and we converted. Now J.K. Dobbins on the first down. He gets another first following that conversion. Now it's 1st and 10. Gus Edwards, he ends up going for only 2. They were really able to stop his run game yesterday, and that was pretty unlucky, I won't lie. But now on 2nd and 8, Tyler Huntley, he pump fakes it, and then he ends up hitting Andrews along the sideline. And this one was another good first down for Mark Andrews. And I'm not going to lie, it was nice to see Mark Andrews get his just dues, because he was favored heavily in the beginning of the season. And now with Lamar being out, he's been put on the back end, and we've been focusing less on the pass game and more on the running game, which that I will talk about in a minute and halftime. But on the next play here, it's 1st and 10. Tyler Huntley, he is stopped right at the line because he tried to take it himself, but he has ended up being stood up right then and there. Now on 2nd and 10, Isaiah Likely is stopped way far back and ends up on a little pitch. He ends up getting stopped right then and there. So it's a loss of 6, and after that play, we end up taking our timeout. So now on 3rd and 16, J.K. Dobbins, he gets a nice run, and there was a flag on the Steelers for unnecessary roughness because, man, was it a bad play. But on 1st and goal, we hit our man Isaiah Likely in the corner, and we get a nice, beautiful touchdown. Finally, we're able to go to the red zone and actually get a touchdown. As we know, that hasn't been our thing lately, but it's nice to say that we end up getting a touchdown in the red zone. And now after the kick, the Steelers do return it for 25 yards, and that will end the second quarter, ending the half with us being up 10-3. And we all know, as we saw back during the Miami game, if we're leading in the half, that's usually our curse. I'm not going to lie. That has become the Ravens flock curse. I will trademark that right now. Red zone leading in the half equals Ravens flock curse. That's trademarked. Everybody heard it from me first. But other than that, let's talk about the first half. I won't lie. It was an interesting half. It was a decent half. There were definitely some things that we needed to do. We definitely need to learn to stop the run game. They were just giving it to Najee Harris the entire time, and he was just running up and down, just running all over us. So we really need to keep our eyes on that ball a little better, and we need to stop the run game a lot more, because things were just not really going for our way when it came to them handing off the ball and doing the run game. We were not able to, I don't know what it was. They were opening up holes and just giving them breathing room. And I know we were looking at a 4-man front for us on defense, but then our stronger backs and our stronger linemen are inactive. But still, we barely heard from Marlon Humphrey last night. Actually, if I remember correctly, I believe Marlon Humphrey might be inactive. Or maybe I'm crazy. I don't believe he's inactive, though. He might be. No, it was correct. Marlon Humphrey wasn't on the inactive list. So I don't know why we didn't really hear from him last night. I know we were kind of keeping him on the low, trying to keep him healthy for playoffs, but that really would have helped us out. But honestly, we really needed to stop the run game. And another thing that we had was we need better pass coverage. We need to, if we're going to cover them when it comes to their pass coverage, because they were not just be able to run, but they definitely were able to pass the ball a decent amount too. But I really have nothing to say about that, because they weren't passing as much as anything, but their pass coverage, our pass coverage, it wasn't that great. We weren't playing man-to-man like we usually do. And even on our offensive side of the ball, we need to get better pass coverage, because they were able to stop a lot of our passes, and we were going for a lot of short passes and not really getting deep. So we need to try and keep the pass coverage on both sides, offense and defense, do a little better. And my next point would be we got to hold the 6-man front better, because we were running a 6-man front last night, and that was the first time in a while that we actually have done that. And granted, it did work for some plays, but we definitely have to learn to hold that better, because our pass coverage, they were able to break the line and break through a lot. So I definitely think that if we're going to hold a 6-man front, we have to keep it contained better and keep our quarterback well protected. And if we do end up getting Lamar back, or even, as I know a lot of everybody reads the articles and is in groups and everything on social media and talking about us possibly losing Lamar for next season and not having him as our starting quarterback next year, we definitely got to learn to protect the quarterback a lot better. And if it's going to take a 6-man front, I'm fine with that. Believe me, I am okay with that. But I just think we need to do it a lot better than what we have been. And I don't mind the 6-man front. It's a decent idea for our offense, but Greg Roman, I definitely think he needs to make a couple adjustments when it comes to that, and I think he needs to change up some things, especially with this next one. I originally wrote in my notes, in my keeping of the game, as I do, we need to keep running J.K. Dobbins. But I honestly, after watching the rest of the game and watching the whole game, I think that point was a mistake. I think we shouldn't run J.K. Dobbins as much as we do. Because granted, yes, when we run him, he gets amazing yards. He had a 17-yard run on one play last week. He had beautiful runs and beautiful gains. And even in this game, in the second half, he'll have a beautiful run and a beautiful stand. But teams are now, especially with this coming Sunday being the last of the regular season, of the regular 2021-2022 season, it needs to switch up just a little bit. I just think that if we're going to be adjusted to or if teams are going to be adjusted to the running game, we gotta go into my next point and look for more open receivers. Because, like I said, as I just been hammering and driving home, if we are going to hold that 6-man front, that's fine, but we gotta ease up from the running game because teams are going to notice and get accustomed to both J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards running the ball as much. And yes, we don't have our other running back, Kenyon Drake, or we didn't even have Devin Duvernay to run things last night. So if we're going to try these run games, we definitely got to upgrade a little more. And yes, we just added Andy Isabella from the practice squad, and he got the first touch of the field last night. But still, if we're going to do this running game, we can't just keep giving it to the same guys because it's going to lead to obvious things. And again, Greg Roman, great offensive coordinator. I don't agree with all the hate and all the flame that he gets from the community, from us as fans, or just in general. And same with John Harbaugh. I think they're doing great. I honestly wouldn't want to change up our coaching staff or our head coach or anything ever because I think Greg Roman does a phenomenal job. Like some of his plays, yes, I think he needs to rework them and readjust them to keep the defense on their toes from the opposing team because with that, it can benefit us a little better. And if he wants to do a 6-man front, fine. And I know I keep talking about it, but if you just envision it, and especially if you look at the film and rewatch the game from last night, if you look at the way things were done, it was a decent way. We were able to hold blocks a lot better, but then our receivers, they just need to get open a lot more. That's our thing. That's my last point. Receivers, they need to be able to get open a little more, and we need to be able to break down the passing game and add a little more passes. Yes, Mark Andrews got beautiful passes and great first downs. Isaiah Likely had that great touchdown, the only one we scored last night too, a great touchdown. But I still think that if we are going to add these things or try different things, granted late in the season, in the last 2 games is what it is, but I think once we go through the draft after this season and we start preseason of next year, we will need to see a different offensive scheme and to see things in a different way, in a different light, because that way it might even benefit us for next year and next season. But with all that being said, that's all my halftime thoughts and all my halftime report. So now we'll get into the third quarter here with the first down after, like I said, we elected to receive the ball. So with that, we will jump into quarter 3 and now start the first one here. Mark Andrews, he gets a ball and gets a nice gain of 14 yards. On 1st and 10 once again, J.K. Dobbins, only 2. 2nd and 8, Tyler Huntley gets the ball. Now it's 3rd and 7 again. And Mark Andrews, he gets the ball and he gets a beautiful run of 20 yards, at least 20 yards. It could have been more, I'm not going to lie. They didn't say it and it was hard to look at it, but it was nice. Now on 1st and 10, we had a false start. It was a legal snap by our center, Tyler Lindenbaum, the rookie, which great player, great guy, I'm not going to lie. He's definitely a good one. Now on 1st and 15, J.K. Dobbins ends up unfortunately going nowhere and is stopped at the line. Now on 2nd and 15, Tyler Huntley, he gained some yards, but there was a holding on us, so that got called back. Now on 2nd and 25, Mark Andrews gets a beautiful, and I mean beautiful, 19-yard catch. He was able to get that, dive for it, and save it, and it was absolutely amazing. Now on 3rd and 6, Tyler Huntley ends up gaining only 2 yards. So now on 4th and 4, Justin Tucker, he ends up attempting a 51-yard field goal, and he made it beautiful as always. So now it's 13-3 with us leading right here. Now back on our defensive side, Pittsburgh's offensive side, it is 1st and 10 for them. And our man, Urban, he ends up tipping the ball with his hands and ends up keeping them from going anywhere, which is absolutely amazing. I won't lie, it was great. It was a great hand up. It was almost a interception, but when it got tipped, our man behind him, he wasn't in the right spot and wasn't in the right position. He was just a little ahead of it, so he wasn't able to catch it and turn it over. But it is what it is, no biggie, because now it is 2nd and 10, but the Steelers do end up getting the first down on this one here. They end up getting 15 yards. So now on...
I didn't get that.
Sorry about that, guys. That that was my series. She was just trying to say hello to everybody in the Ravens flock. If you all heard that, she was just trying to say hello. She's a very big Ravens fan herself, so she had a lot to say about the game last night. But now after that, on 2nd and 10, they do end up getting 15 yards and end up converting downs. Now on 1st and 10, Odafe Owe, he gets a nice stop after 3 yards. Then on 2nd and 7, Justin Matabike, and this one was, he started it, but basically almost the entire defense corralled these guys and ends up getting a nice, huge loss of 7 yards. So now it's 3rd and 14, and again, the Steelers convert, and this is what I'm talking about. This was that pass game, and this was that running game that we weren't able to stop last night. And this is where, if we were playing man-to-man like we had been playing a few weeks ago, and how other games that we had played with our man-to-man coverage, we wouldn't be giving up these yards. But now on 1st and 10, they end up running and gaining 6 yards. Now on 2nd and 4, Pickett, the quarterback, ends up tripping over himself, so he ends up going nowhere on this one. Now on 3rd and 4, the Warren from the Steelers, he ends up getting the ball and he ends up converting on downs. Now on 1st and 10, it's a pickup of 5. 2nd and 5, they're stopped after only a gain of 1. So now on 3rd and 4, the Steelers do take a timeout right here. And that after that timeout, it'll be 3rd and 4. And Kyle Hamilton, he'll get the nice stop. Absolutely beautiful to see. So after that, it'll force them to a 4 and 4. And they will attempt a 51-yard field goal. And they ended up making it. Surprisingly, you don't see a lot of teams making field goals past midfield outside of that range. Usually it's Justin Tucker you only see. Like, he's the only one in the league who usually has that type of range. So seeing another team get that was pretty good, I won't lie to you. Well, not good for us, but it's just nice to see that other kickers are recognized like that. But we are all still lucky and still blessed to have our man Justin Tucker, the most accurate kicker in NFL history, on this one here. So now, after that, it'll be 1st and 10. J.K. Dobbins, he ends up running it for a nice 24-yard gain. Now on 1st and 10 again, only a 2-yard gain here. 2nd and 8, Tyler Huntley is sacked for a loss of 10. Now it's 3rd and 8. Isaiah Likely, he ends up getting a pass and only gains 11, though. So that will force us to 4 and 7, and we will punt the ball away. But there was a holding flag on the Steelers once again. That their second holding of the night. There a lot of penalties. Let me tell you, there was a lot of pushing and a lot of shoving last night. When they talk about this being an unmatched rivalry, and when they were really showing it off throughout the years, how there's usually hands thrown, fists thrown, this one definitely did not change or hinder any bad blood, because Mike Tomlin, the head coach, has been playing now against John Harbaugh in our Ravens for 10 years. He even said that it is just the one game he looks forward to, sometimes twice a year, and it's a dogfight. Like, most games you see are pretty good, but this one is a straight dogfight all the way, all the time. But now on 1st and 10, Steelers do convert. And they end up calling it back, saying he was short. So on 2nd and inches, they possibly convert, which they ended up doing, and that did end the third quarter. And I won't lie, it was nice to see us get another field goal and still stay up ahead of the game going into the 4th and final quarter. But again, that Ravens leading curse, it really hits us. And this just happens to be one of those times where it definitely hits us, because with this last and 4th and final quarter, we all know what the score was at the end of the night, but we will talk about that in a moment, or in a minute or two, depending on how long it takes us to get through this quarter. So now on 1st and 10, Najee Harris, he ends up gaining 15 yards once again because he was absolutely going nuts. Now it's 1st and 10 again. Pickens from the Steelers, he gets the first down. Now on 1st and 10 again, it's a gain of 6 for them. 2nd and 4, Steelers convert. This time on 1st and 10, the ball is deflected. It was a great one. The pass went up. It almost went in his hands, but it got tipped out and it was deflected. So that was a good one here. Now on 2nd and 10, Roquan Smith and Odafe Owe, they get the nice stop after 6 yards. It was a team effort on their hands. Now on 3rd and 4, the Steelers, they end up converting and end up getting 22 yards in total. And this one was a hard sight to see. Now on 1st and 10, they are stopped after 2 yards. 2nd and 8, Urban, our man, he gets a nice stop, and that was able to keep them back and push them back 2 yards. So now on 3rd and 10, incomplete pass. 4th and 10, they make a field goal, making it 13-9 with 9:44 left in the fourth. 1st and 10, it's Justice Hill. He returns it for 34 yards. This was absolutely nice. This was absolutely one of those plays that we definitely needed. He ends up getting the nice run and returning it for 34 yards. So that was absolutely a beautiful sight to see, and a great play on Justice Hill's part. So now on 1st and 10 again, J.K. Dobbins, he is unfortunately stuffed at the line. Like I said, if we're going to run it to J.K. Dobbins, that's fine, but things really were just played out for him, and everybody just automatically expected that he was going to be the handoff man, and he definitely was last night. Now on 2nd and 12, it's an incomplete pass, and then 3rd and 12, it's another incomplete pass, this one to Isaiah Likely, so that'll force us to punt the ball away. Now on 1st and 10 for the Steelers, once again, Chuck Clark and Broderick Washington, they get the stop after 6 yards. That was another combination and team effort. On 2nd and 4, the Steelers do convert. It's 1st and 10. It is a long pass, but when he caught it, it was reviewed, and it was an incomplete pass because when he ended up catching it, there was already a foot out, so he wasn't able to fully get that in his hands. So now on 2nd and 10, Justin Madubuike, he gets a beautiful sack on Pickett for a loss of 8. Now it is 3rd and 18, and Chuck Clark, he breaks up the play. It was a pass play, and he ends up breaking it up and stopping it. So that was beautiful and absolutely amazing to see. So that'll force the Steelers to punt the ball away with 6:32 left in the game. Still leading Baltimore. 1st and 10, Mark Andrews gets a good short little catch of 4 yards. Now on 2nd and 6, J.K. Dobbins, he gets a gain of 3 yards, and it'll push it to 3rd and 3, but J.K. Dobbins again is stuffed at the line. So now on 4th and 3, we will be forced to punt once again, back-to-back possessions, unfortunately. Now on 1st and 10, Najee Harris gains 7. Second place, 2nd and 3, he gains 2 more. It's 3rd and 1, he gets the first down. And this is what I was talking about. He was really just running these plays, running the ball like he does, as they had been handing off to him constantly last night. He was just having things handed to him left and right, and he was doing what was happening, and I won't lie, but it was a hard sight to see him just run up and down that field. Now it's 1st and 10, and they end up getting a really long catch, this one at midfield with 2:20 left in the game. And now it is 1st and 10. Their man Sims, he catches at the 20-yard line, but there was a holding call on us. This put us also at the 2-minute warning, which really did not help us here. So now it is 1st and 10. Sims again gains 4. Now on 2nd and 6, they end up going for it and end up getting Najee Harris almost to convert, but he couldn't make it. So after that, we end up taking our timeout, another one for us. Now on 3rd and 1, they convert. It is 1st and 10. It is an incomplete pass. Then Broderick Washington and Justin Madubuike, they get the stop. We use our final timeout of the day. Steelers still having all 3 of theirs. And now on 3rd and 8, they end up getting the touchdown. Now putting it at 16-3 with them taking the lead. Or 16-13 with them taking the lead with 56 seconds left. And we had a chance to push in overtime, but this here was kind of our downfall because on 1st and 10, we had an incomplete pass to Isaiah Likely. There were 2 holding flags against us. There were 2 flags, and they were holding, so that put us, and now it's 2nd and 20. Mark Andrews, he gets a beautiful 18-yard catch. Now on 3rd and 2, he gets the first down. We spike it to stop the clock on 1st and 10. Now on 2nd and 10, there was an interception thrown, and a flag as well, unsportsmanlike conduct, but it doesn't matter because with that interception being thrown, we ended up losing the game right at the very end within the last minute of us, and we lost 16-13, and we had it. We could have had it, Ravens flock. I won't lie to you. We definitely didn't we didn't capitalize like we could have. We didn't show out like we could have. And that happens. I know that happens. I understand that. But they were just running the ball up and down on us so much. It doesn't make sense of why we weren't able to stop the run game. We saw it. We knew who they were giving it to, Najee Harris, the entire time. So I just don't understand why. And like I said, I know we're missing a lot of our big wigs and a lot of our big names for our defense, it's like with Marcus Peters and Calais Campbell being gone and Marlon Humphrey not playing last night. Again, not sure why, but we didn't hear him get anything last night. So I just think that we need to hopefully go into next week, because tonight, as I will post this on Monday, obviously, which is today, we need Cincinnati to lose, and then we need to beat them on Sunday to clinch the division. Granted, yes, last week when we won, that put us in the wild card and solidified a playoff spot for us. So we will be in postseason no matter what. But this helped keep the Steelers' chances alive. And if we had won last night, they would be out completely. But they have a chance now. But that doesn't matter, because all that matters is that we're in the playoffs. We still make it. But with this game, and like I said, it only being a field goal game, we need to hold things out. And there was a post-game interview with Mark Andrews, who even said it himself, that we need to capitalize on the game. And I will play a little bit of that interview, as I usually tend to do from time to time. I know I've been doing it a lot lately, because they've been speaking some real facts, and it really helps us understand the minds of those who are actually on the field and not just sitting at home watching the game or on the sidelines in the stands and all that. So let's throw it over to Mark Andrews in his post-game interview and see what he had to say as well.
Been kind of a struggle to score touchdowns for you guys lately?
I think today there was a lot of good football that was played. There's a lot of good things that played situationally. You love the score, obviously, before the first half ended in the second quarter, so that was good. But we did a lot of good things. Just capitalizing when we need to, and really came down to the 2 drives before that last one, not the 2-minute one, but just being sharp. We'll get it together.
And I believe Mark, honestly, I do. I think that it was definitely those last few minutes, those last couple drives, and I think that it could have been a little better. I won't lie. We had things going for us. It didn't hit the way it usually does, because we're not finishing drives. We're not getting those last few downs on 3rd and 1s or 3rd and 4s, getting those conversions, which we desperately need, especially with us going to postseason. And granted, our slate's going to be wiped clean, but I think that we just need to capitalize a little better and capitalize a little more on getting those drives and getting those downs. And Tyler Huntley also had a press game interview kind of saying the same thing, so I will also play a little bit of his press conference and post-game interview, so that way we understand, even coming from now, our I don't want to say temporary, but possible. Well, actually, I will say, not to be rude to him, but because we still don't know Lamar's current future, so our temporary QB1, Tyler Huntley, I will let his interview play a little bit, so we can also hear what he has to say about it as well.
What's kind of the frustration level when you go into a game and it's still hard to get the one touchdown, but trying to consistently score touchdowns? What's the frustration level in the offense?
Man, we driving down now. We just got to finish the drives, Stop getting 3, get 7, And that's what we just got to keep striving for. Yeah, that's it.
Tyler, where's this team's mindset now? Coming in, you controlled your destiny for the division, and now you're waiting on tomorrow night with Cincy. Where's your mind and this team's mindset as you wait on tomorrow night, I guess?
We knew we had the best chance if we won both games. Fell short today, so we're in the playoffs, and we're just going from there. We got one more game in the regular season and get ready for the playoffs.
All right.
And that really just kind of sums it up, how they were really thinking. I agree with what he said. They really need to finish drives. Stop getting those 3 yards. We need to get to 7. We need to, once we get on there, it really needs to just be hammered home. The fact that they need to keep going and keep driving and just keep pushing and going a lot harder and going a lot faster. Those quicks, 3 and 3s, or those 2 and 7s and stop and getting just the 3 yards, get the full 7 on 3rd and 7 and not have to punt the ball away and just go with it. But I don't really know. I understand the hate that Greg Roman gets, but I also don't think he deserves all of it because there are a lot of good defenses out there, and if they're able to stop the run game, they're able to stop the run game. If they're able to stop the pass, they're able to stop the pass. But it's not not forcing punts and going for certain things is where we really need to be collectively and really need to start going out and really doing things. And the final interview I will play to wrap everything up before we do everything is, as I always do, is the head coach himself, Mr. John Harbaugh, and let him speak on what really needs to get done this coming Sunday.
John, what do you think is the biggest challenge for you guys offensively? It seemed like the running game was starting to go a few times, but it just not consistent enough.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. We just we didn't do a great job of finding a way to make plays. We had a few here and there, but you know, we were behind the change too much. They were ahead of the change pretty much the whole game. You know, we've got to do a way better job across the board in terms of attacking what they did. They did a nice job. Wasn't anything we hadn't seen. Exactly what we saw on tape from the last 3 weeks. And just very disappointed. Not one of our better performances at all. Coaching staff, start with that. Start with me. Start with the coaching staff. Game plan. All of it. Not good enough. Very disappointing. We got to bounce back.
And with that being said, I believe it. I believe that they can bounce back. And even though, like I said, that we're in the playoffs, we need Cincinnati to lose tonight, and then we need to beat them on Sunday to win our division. That's what we need to happen. And I know I would never say this, but I have a very close couple of friends who are Buffalo fans, and I have to give a shout-out to my old college advisor, professor, very good friend of mine, who is also a Buffalo Bills fan. So I have to root for the Bills tonight. And even though it's a Baltimore podcast and I never want to see anything happen, but I definitely need to see, we as a collective and as a Ravens flock and a Ravens fan community want to see us clinch and win the division. And that's the only way it will happen if Buffalo beats Cincinnati tonight and we beat them on Sunday. And speaking of Sunday, that is where we will be playing. We will be playing against Cincinnati, yet we don't know where yet, but we will be playing them on Sunday in Cincinnati at their home stadium. A time yet, as this still says on our schedule, on the Ravens app, it does say that it is yet to be determined because we don't know, because that Cincinnati's Buffalo game will not happen until later this evening. But other than that, with all that being said, honestly, Ravens flock, I will still love the Ravens no matter what. And like I said, at the end of the day, we're still in the playoffs. We still have our wild card position. This was just a chance to clinch the division. But I don't really have anything else to talk about. I know there will be interviews and press conferences after practice today, which are coming up soon. So everybody go definitely on the Ravens YouTube channel, watch those, check those out. Make sure you follow along on certain things. And I will be reporting next week after this game this Sunday against Cincinnati, in Cincinnati, to close out the regular season and push us into the postseason after that. I have been your host, Anthony Propst, here on Baltimore Talk. Thank you all for listening, and have a great time.